And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. It's Lakers weekend, everybody, and thank you for joining us once again. We truly appreciate it. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from the Lakers Fast Break Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends of pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcast, plus also as well, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, as Joe is taking an extra swig right there on this Lakers weekend. Truly appreciate it. Raphael, Blue Magic, great to have you here. Also, as well, Ox1947 at LakersBall.com. Go ahead and check out what he's doing today at LakersBall.com. Plus, also, as well, of course, our good friends, Jamie Sweet, and also, as well, Laker Tom, the number one Lakers blogger that's out there. You could go ahead and check him out today at Lakerholics.com. But if you didn't catch it, they were on this morning doing their usual thing, arguing at each other. They finished out their 10 questions 10 Lakers have to answer in order to get to the World Championship. Plus, they talked about Giannis a little bit as well. So go ahead and check out what they did earlier this morning in the Lakerholic Spotlight. Also, go ahead and check out our new friend, Empire Jeff TV. Right there for you. Empire Jeff TV on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe today because we are going to help him and our good friend John McCallion out on his YouTube channel as well. Go ahead and subscribe today to get the latest notifications on when they go live on the air with their great channels. And of course, speaking of subscribing, we are now over 1,000 subscribers, and we are so thankful for it. I'll tell you what, I'm just so blessed to have so many great people out there that like the Lakers Fast Break. But if you know somebody that's out there that hasn't checked into us right here and checked us out, please go ahead and let them know so they can go ahead and subscribe. Hit the little Joe with the beady eyes right there next to Sean so they can get the latest notifications on when we go live at the latest Lakers Fast Break. And please, if you can, like the video as well. If you like what we do, go ahead, make sure you hit that thumbs up. It gets everything out there as far as to YouTube and say, hey, we like and support everything that you're doing right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate it. Yes, thank you, Deep Purple. Thank you, Problem Child. Always great to have you here. Devotion, Blue Magic, Raphael. Always great to have you here indeed. It is a Lakers weekend, and we truly thank you for being part of what we're doing here. Wanted to go ahead and make sure everybody got a recap of today's game earlier today with the USA as they opened up their World Cup, hopefully winning run with a 99-72 win over New Zealand. They cruise controlled that just basically throughout. Basically, they were dominating. And in fact, the star of the show was Paulo Banchero, the rookie of the year, who recorded a great game of 21 rebounds, 4 block shots, overall good play from the team. And of course, Tyrese Haliburton and Austin Reaves coming off the bench to provide some really, really good play as well. And here today to talk about Team USA's victory, plus an update on Bronny James. 2 great guys indeed. First up, first man here, you got to go ahead and check out what he's doing today. It's Ox1947 because you know he's always talking Lakers. If not here, it's at LakersBall.com. It is Joe Soro. And Joe, great to have you here. Another good victory for Team USA in the Philippines to start off their World Cup hopefully winning run. Your thoughts on Team USA and how they look pretty good heading into their next game here in a couple days.
This was kind of a formality anyways, but it's nice to see that the team has good chemistry, and I don't really see any issues in this tournament. I haven't really seen any since the beginning. I felt pretty confident before they got into this tournament that they would play well. What was interesting about today's game was the fan base in the Philippines towards
Crazy.
Reaves.
Yeah.
I even saw a sign that said Austin Reaves, LeBron James. So somebody out there thinks that Austin Reaves is better than LeBron James. I thought that was kind of cool.
Maybe it was Z.
Maybe, but I think it was a man, so probably not.
Okay.
But
I didn't see who was holding the sign. So
I think it was a kid, from what I remember, male child. Anyways, so the play that's probably talked about a little bit at Lakers ball and just in general on ESPN even
Maybe
is
it was Luca.
are you let me finish?
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Uh it's the turnaround behind the back at the 3-point line and then drain. That was an interesting play. That was a very interesting play because we've been talking about this. We've been talking on this show about is Austin Reaves going to be better this year? And I don't know. I saw that play and I said, is this what we're going to be getting? Are we going to get this guy's confidence at an all-time level? He's talking about chemistry with this team. He's talking about how cool it is in the locker room. He's like, there's no ego here. And on top of that, his game is already in like mid-season form, if not better. I'm watching him play in this tournament and I'm watching his leadership in this thing. I feel like I hear his name more than I hear anybody else's name. Maybe Anthony Edwards a little bit more, but not really. I feel like he's like the leader of this team. And I'm excited about training camp the more I watch Team USA basketball. I didn't get too much into the Euro tournament from last year with Dennis Schroeder, but when I was hearing how he was playing really well then, that got me excited. I just didn't delve into it too much because I don't have anything at stake with Germany and the EuroLeague. But for this one, the fact that Austin Reaves looks to have been improved and the team is looking like a dream team type team in this tournament, I'm just excited that this coming season is going to be special, barring any injuries.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break podcast. We're recapping the Team USA 99-72 victory over New Zealand. Also here today, good man indeed. He is the madman from Toronto. He just got out of Toronto traffic to go ahead and stop on by to talk, of course, Team USA after his great evening watching the Toronto Blue Jays. It is the Magic Man, Sean Grice. And Sean, great to have you here, my friend. Now, well over 1,000 subscribers, and hopefully we can continue to grow and expand. Truly appreciate it. Exactly. So I'm going to ask you this, my friend. When you see Austin Reaves coming out there strong with 12 points, great shooting, 2 of 2 from beyond the arc. Obviously, as Joe said, great playmaking. You see him pairing up with Tyrese Haliburton, who also 10 points himself. Truly a great performance from both coming off the bench, giving that support. And then Paulo Banchero, 21 points on top of it. You know, you don't need to rely on the starters. That's the great thing about this Team USA. In fact, the best Team USA teams in international competition, you've never needed to rely on the starting five to get the job done.
No, not really, Gerald. And Tyrese Haliburton kind of had a tempered down game as well. He didn't really need to do a whole hell of a lot out there either. There's real balance there. It just seemed like I kind of made a note just during watching the exhibition games that it no matter what unit Kerr threw out there, they were all sharing the ball. It's almost as if it's a consciousness out there that everybody gets to handle the ball, gets to create, gets to facilitate. Seems like it's working because they were firing on all cylinders tonight. Looked easy, but I mean, New Zealand didn't put a bunch of secondhand basketball players out there. A lot of these guys play competitively, and it just the United States makes it look easy sometimes.
That they do, and that's again, I think coaching. Steve Kerr has done a great job as far as balancing everything out. I know that Joe doesn't like to talk about Steve Kerr much as far as on that end, but you know, you got to admit, Joe, so far Kerr has done a pretty good job with the team as far as balancing out time. Obviously, resisting temptation to break up the Reaves Haliburton combo, who've been so effective. You know, the temptation would be to, okay, Ingram's struggling. let's get him out of the starting lineup and let's go ahead and put Haliburton or Reaves in there. Their best play has been when both of those two are playing together.
Yeah, Steve Kerr's got it pretty easy with this team, other than maybe Anthony Edwards kind of ribbing him a little bit about not starting. He had mentioned how Dwayne Wade came off the bench because Kobe was starting in his position. And Anthony Edwards right away went, well, there's no Kobe on this team. And I thought that was kind of a good answer. But the chemistry's there. The coaching's doing well. It's evident in the it's evident in the it's evident in the fact that they just seem cohesive. It's been like that the entire tournament. It's at this point, let's finish this off, get the gold medal, let's go home, and I'm ready to talk training camp here in a month. I feel like every time I say there's a month left, the next week there's a month left. I'm ready for the month to be tomorrow. I really am.
I don't blame you, my friend. I think we all want the season to start, all want to get training camp under the way. Vincent says Reaves is easily the most popular player because he is a Laker. At Magic Man, what Joe was saying in regards to the footage that's out there, as far as the signs, the chants, he's him, as he was walking back to the hotel, and everybody was just so excited to see him. He is probably right now the most popular individual on Team USA. And I think a lot of that has to do with not just how he's played, not just how he's acted during the playoffs, but also the fact that he is a Los Angeles Laker.
Oh, no doubt. That obviously, being on the most eminent franchise in the NBA obviously adds a lot of cachet and allure to your name, and you can definitely take advantage of that, Joe. But I think it just also happens to be that he's just an individual who you can communicate with. He doesn't like when you watch him communicate with refs, his teammates, fans. It's usually kind of very tempered, very cool. He doesn't really get a big head when success is going his way, Joe, and he's not down on himself when he's not playing well either. He seems very like even Steven. So I think it's just his overall temperament as well.
Absolutely. And he's handled it great so far. He's not let it get to his head. He's actually been able to continue his very solid play. I don't think he's had a game yet where it's been substandard. I think
No.
even when he scored under 10 points, he's been able to make good contributions. So it's been great to see. Joe, as we finish off this conversation on Team USA, you said that there's no matchup for the Team USA that they can't really, take care of, that they can handle everything that comes their way. Upcoming next is Greece, and then after that is Jordan. These are in just the Group C rounds that they're in. You don't see a problem advancing further in the tournament, do you?
No, I don't. I see double-digit wins the rest of the way. I
Okay.
don't think they're going to get complacent. I don't, even if they do, they have enough talent to mask it. I haven't had a chance to really delve into this tournament like I would normally, let's say if it was the Olympics, because at some point, 24 hours is not enough time in my day. But I am always trying to catch a little bit of some highlights. I'll go on YouTube and I'll get some 5-6 minute bits of basketball play. Obviously, the talk is easier to analyze, such as the Anthony Edwards discussion with Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr is always best when he doesn't talk. That's how I prefer Steve Kerr. When Steve Kerr coaches and doesn't talk, he's excellent. So
I disagree with you personally, but
that's my feeling on Steve Kerr, because Steve Kerr has this insatiable habit of coming off whiny, and I don't like grown men, whining about stuff they don't like. That's what children do. I like men to be men, act like a man. And my definition of a man maybe is different than all you. I'm not an 80-year-old codger that sits on a bench. I'm 45 years old. I'm with it. I got it. I know what time it is. And I still want you to be a man at the end of the day. So can't throw in that whole get off my lawn BS. I'm not that guy. I am never going to be that guy, even when I am 80. But I do expect when you have an issue, talk like a man. That's it. That's all I got to say. And it looks like he's doing it. Good for him. Looks like he's doing it. This is a compliment, Gerald.
Yes.
Understand the compliment.
All right. Well, even though I disagree with you as far as your overall thoughts on that, he is relaxed. He looks relaxed. Even in the Spain game, and the Germany game, he looks relaxed as far as what this team can do. He did not panic, and like you said, he's not gone off on anyone. He's just basically gone ahead and had a strategy, even when it comes to Brandon Ingram, who struggled throughout this Team USA. And that's the last thing I want to cover, Sean, is Brandon Ingram, a former Laker who is been given a different role than what he does normally and what he normally is used to. He's more the individual who's supposed to have the ball in his hands. And he's said that this role that they wanted him on was more of a Carmelo Anthony, what he evolved into. Carmelo Anthony used to be someone that also had the ball in his hands quite a bit, but then he evolved into more a catch and shoot guy. And that started with his international play. So, and Kevin Durant as well. Kevin Durant is like that once in a while individual who can prosper with both the ball in his hands or as a spot up shooter. He just doesn't matter what you need him to do. He's just so skilled offensively. That's what he can do. They wanted Brandon Ingram to go ahead and follow suit, and it's just not quite worked out. That's the only glitch in the armor I think that I've seen so far from Team USA that might be some trouble, is that if everybody's having an off day, Brandon Ingram's supposed to be that guy as a veteran to bail him out, and so far he hasn't been able to do that.
And that's a good point you brought up, Gerald. This is unfortunate, but it's also expected. Mm-hmm. Brandon Ingram is a stripped Kevin Durant. In terms of body, in terms of, I guess, I don't want to even, you can't say skill set, but what it is Brandon.
He's not 100% of what that is. He's like 75.
KD has a tick in his head that says, I'm going to score on your rear end.
However,
yes. No matter what you say, no matter what you do, I'm 7 feet tall, even though I say I'm 6'11". It seems to be a habit that a lot of guys that are 7 feet that say. He goes, I'm going to score on you. It doesn't matter if I'm dribbling the ball, if I'm sitting at the 3, or if I'm sitting at the elbow. I'm going to score on your ass. Brandon Ingram it looks like he's always thinking about something. I don't know what, but he always has that look of, I'm thinking about something. And it's usually not the insatiable appetite to win a basketball game. And that's just, he should be called Sleepy Ingram. We used to have a Sleepy Floyd, for those of you who've been watching basketball for many years, like we have. That's what he is, Sleepy Ingram. He looks sleepy. But I'll tell you what I should do with Ingram is just say, hey, if you make this basket, you get another tattoo. That might work.
Always got to be in with the comment there. Once again, it is the Lakers fast break. It is a victory.
That guy has more tattoos than the Mongrels put together. Jesus, seriously. Every time I look at him.
It is the Lakers fast break. It is Joe Soro, aka Ox1947, and the Magic Man Sean Grice. We truly appreciate you watching, listening. Make sure you like and subscribe to get the latest notifications on when we go live on the air with the latest Lakers fast break. Today we're covering the Team USA victory, 99-72. And before we turn it over to Bronny and some other talk as far as what you guys want to talk about, again, Sean, Brandon Ingram, he has continued to struggle. It's a different story if Cam Johnson struggles because he's a shooter. He's coming off the bench. Not as much as expected from him. Mikal Bridges, even if Haliburton and Reaves starts to struggle, which there probably will be a game just by the fact that sheer odds. There's going to be one game where they're not going to be able to flourish. Your thoughts on why Brandon Ingram has just not been able to go ahead and connect so far for Team USA?
Yeah, you know what, Gerald? That's a great kind of analogy and kind of a conflation he made between the role they're asking Ingram to play and what Melo played with Team USA. When you're being compared to that player, he's the most accomplished United States basketball player ever. He's 3 gold medals. I believe he has the most games played for the United States internationally. Their leading scorer, their leading rebounder. So if you're being asked to play a role like that, I mean, you should just be humbled that you're even in the same breath as this person. And you're right, Gerald. For him to kind of be like Joe, I think Joe was kind of saying that Brandon Ingram is like a lackadaisical, a kind of like head in the clouds version of Kevin Durant rather than being completely focused. Like he's a dog chasing a car sometimes. I think that's what Joe was trying to say. But I could be wrong, Joe, but correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's pretty good. I'm trying not to be too harsh. I don't know if that's the way.
I don't think that's harsh at all. I think it's just it's a harder way.
He doesn't have it.
Somebody who's
he doesn't
distracted.
have it. Yeah, he's an immensely talented basketball player that's in the NBA, that's made an all-star team, but he doesn't have it. He's not an it player. He's a very good player, and that's about it. He won't win you championships. He won't motivate you. He won't lead. He won't be a pillar on a franchise. He won't be a legend. He won't be. So if you want to get technical, you want to get honest, Brandon Ingram is a very good basketball player that will quickly be forgotten once he retires. Not because he's a jerk, not because he's whatever. It's because that's just what that's who he is. And that's.
Do you think he has an unremarkable game?
I've never liked his game.
Gerald, do you think his game will age well?
I think
if he's not willing to be a spot-up shooter now.
His game will, but his body may not.
Yeah.
No, exactly. I think his body will. He's very lean and lightweight. That's usually what a lot. It's not as much weight on the joints, not as much weight on the back.
You would think, but he's been often injured in his.
He's been often injured because he's kind of soft, and he's
so. Are we kind of thinking along the same lines as John Collins? Like when the athleticism goes, that's it for these guys. Because it kind of feels that way. That Brandon Ingram and John
age, but it's you're
right. You're right. Yeah, because when he's on the floor, Gerald, he's very efficient, but he's not on the floor all the time.
I think on a championship team, he would be a number 3 or 4 guy. I really think that as that could work for you. But like Joe's saying, if he's your number 1 or number 2 guy, your aspiration should not be a title run. It should just not be something in the cards because he's just not capable of doing what you need to do. He had some nice stretches in the playoffs and their limited playoff runs. He's had some nice stretches here and there, but he is just not going to be the player that's going to step up for you. Is that what you're saying, Joe? When you need it the most?
His game does nothing for me, and his game doesn't do anything in terms of the ultimate prize, which is win. He's a basketball player that exists. That's it. He's like a person who works at an office. They go to work. They don't cause any problems. They're there at 8. They leave at 5. They do a good job. Once in a while, they'll get a prize for being good that month, or they'll get a really good sale. That's it. He's not going to move anything other than just being one of the guys of the team. That's it. He just doesn't do anything other than that.
Jante had some good thoughts. Want to make sure everybody knows that he plays too cool for school. Doesn't play hard, set screens or box out. He just wants to shoot elbow jumpers all game. Seemingly that's his sweet spot, and that's what he likes to do. But you're right, as far as doing the extra little things, he doesn't really, or he's not noted for that, I should say. So yeah, that was an excellent point, Jante. Darren, our awesome audio subscriber, says we would all like to have a beer with Joe. The fun that would be had.
Yes, it would be fun because that's just what happens here. If you ever sells in Temecula, let me know. I got restaurants we can go to where we can have drinks, all kinds of drinks, and safe rides homes and all that stuff. It's every day is a good day. When you're healthy, every day is a good day, to be honest. But it's just
Vincent,
it's more fun with me though. I have a lot of fun every day. It's because I do whatever the hell I want. When you do whatever the hell you want, there's nothing you can do. How do you have a bad day? I mean, today I got up in the morning, worked out, came home, sat for a few minutes, showered, went and did a visit, closed the deal, came home, ate, and then oh, good, we'll do some basketball now. I mean, come on. And then after this, I'm gonna go swim and have a cigar. I mean, come on. This is all in one day, too, guys. This is what I do. This is what I do. And I could do this every day if I want. So if you guys want to have fun, visit and I'll show you. See, that's the beautiful thing about that, guys. People talk out there and they're doing these, they're doing all this. But I'm telling you right now, most of those clowns, when they get rid of this, they're miserable. They're miserable. I can prove what I'm telling you right now happens. So just so you know, I can prove it. Visit, and I'll show you.
Vincent says BI is a decent player, good as a rotation player. Yes, absolutely. As a third, fourth guy, he's actually pretty solid. I think it'd be great as a sixth man later on in his career, as far as coming off the bench to get you 15, 18 points a game coming off the bench. Again, as someone that you're not relying upon, but that's someone that's just going to help you maybe get over the hump as an additional player. But yeah, right now where he stands, Team USA, it's just not working out, and hopefully that won't mess him up for his season down the road with New Orleans. Yes, Joe.
If Philly saw what was going to happen to Ben Simmons before they drafted Ben Simmons, it is safe to say that they would have drafted Brandon Ingram 1, correct?
Yes.
So what does that tell you?
He's just not a great draft.
He's better than Ben Simmons at this point, which is goes to show you how much Ben Simmons destroyed his career. Because talent-wise, he's not. But we're talking about, at this point, Brandon Ingram is a better player than Ben Simmons.
Oh, yeah, and it's not even close. That's the thing.
Ben Simmons is good at playing video games and collecting money when he doesn't play. That's what he's good for. At least Brandon Ingram shows up.
But if Brandon Ingram was the number one draft pick, let's go back into the rewind clock as far as Joe and Sean and all that, and Brandon Ingram was the number one draft pick, would you say I wouldn't say a bust, but would you say he is not a number one draft pick after all is said and done?
No. Just like Markelle Fultz wasn't, just like Anthony Bennett wasn't. There's plenty of number one overall picks that a lot of times are number one picks out of just situation. And for him, he's not really even a second. I mean, if you look at him I guess this depends on the draft, right? Depends on that particular draft. I have to look at that draft to see what else was going on. But it's hard, guys. The NBA is hard. That's why the Players League for the NBA is always going to be that, because there's so many levels that we don't talk about when it comes to the NBA. You're talking about the guys that are the bench, the deep bench guys. You got the guys that are rotational players. You got the next level, like bench player, like the 6 Man of the Year award guys. Then you got the starters. Then after you get the starters, then you got the very good players of the starters. Then you have all-stars, right? Then you got perennial all-stars. And then you have like maybe top 10. And then you got MVP candidates, and then you have the last line, which is the LeBrons, the KDs, the Chris Pauls, and those types. It's very, 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 very structured. Almost like what do they call in India, the caste system?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a caste system in NBA, and it's a player that's LeBron's player, like the LeBron player, right? The guy that cares about winning, the guy that is dedicated to his sport, has to deal with all the BS, right? So let's go back and
let's just look at that draft from our perspective. We got Ingram and we got Zubats. If you redid that draft, Zubats is a top 10 pick. Yeah, he's a top 10 pick.
I'd say 20.
If you look at the other big men in the draft, he's likely in the top.
Oh, compared to that. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. You're right on that. He was supposed to. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that was strange. How he just like that was another one where he wanted to go to the Lakers. Let's just if we want to talk about that, that's another guy grew up a Lakers fan, and obviously this is the fly in the ointment of Magic's tenure. He got LeBron, no doubt about it. It was a successful tenure in the end, but that's his fly in the ointment, Gerald.
Okay, so let's look at that draft. So right now, it's safe to say that Jaylen Brown would have been number 1, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
So
yeah,
Jamal Murray would have been number 2.
Right.
Right?
Right.
3.
You could talk yourself into taking Ingram over Siakam, but I wouldn't.
I would take Siakam 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then at that point, you can start going into the Ingrams and Ben Simmons at that point, if you want to be
100%.
Brogdon was the rookie of the year that year, so you have to put Malcolm Brogdon 4th.
Yeah.
Right? And he was a second-round pick.
Yeah, and he's still a good player.
Right. I think that's it.
That's it, really.
I think you get.
The other only player I think in that draft was DJ Murray, DeJounte Murray.
Yep.
But I think he was taken at the end of the first round too.
You also have Sabonis.
Wasn't he? Or wasn't he early second rounder? I can't remember.
No, I thought it was first.
Oh, yeah. I think you're right.
Yeah, DeJounte Murray was 29th overall. Okay. So
makes sense.
He cracks the top 10, right?
Yes, the bonus was first, and Oklahoma City did the wise thing of throwing him out into the 3-point line and made him try to be a stretch player when that's exactly what he was not. It was a stretch player. And I remember that first season, because I liked the bonus coming out of Gonzaga, and I thought he was going to be a really good player, but they threw him out there. I was so frustrated with the way OKC was handling him, and he's fortunately developed into a really good player on his own. But yeah, I do want to mention, though, before we go ahead to Bronny, I wanted to let you know that there is a player, though, that is playing like a player that should be, and should be justifying his number 1 draft choice, and that is Paulo Banchero. Playing okay so far, but then today was a really breakout game, Joe. Paulo Banchero was someone that a lot of people were kind of on the fence on. I remember the day, in the hours leading up to the NBA draft last year, Vegas did a huge swing because something tipped them off to Paulo Banchero being picked number 1. I know Rafael Barlow, who is from the NBA Big Board podcast, just a great guy, and obviously he's been on this show many, many times, has talked about him being his choice, and he was on the Paulo Banchero train early. Your thoughts on Paulo Banchero and how he's played, especially after a great game today?
I mean, some guys shine with the pressure not being on them during the regular season. It's a little different in international play where everyone holds their weight. There's not the pressure of running a team. The team is already so good. Anything can benefit the team, right? Charles Barkley, they say he was the best player on the 1992 NBA team, Dream Team, which is complete stupidity when you say that. Why was he the best? Because he didn't have to worry about anything. Of course, he was the best. He had Magic, he had Jordan, he had Patrick Ewing, he had Karl Malone, he had Clyde Drexler, he had Chris Mullin. What does that even mean? Are you just trying to say that, Charles Barkley's good too? No, Charles Barkley is not as good as Michael Jordan. I still would have picked Magic that year over Barkley. I still would have picked Karl Malone. So, it's there's too much talent to really not. It's too much talent not to play well. Let's just put it that way. You should play well. No one can focus on one guy, and maybe it helps again get him into that mindset of getting ready for the NBA season. That's always a positive, and if he can tail into what he did now and go into the season doing that, then good for him.
Darren says, as a player, I do not mind playing with someone who can't shoot, a la Simmons. I'm going to get more shots, but I can't expect him to make the shots when it matters. Sean, I think that's exactly correct. The thing is, with Ben Simmons, I think he does need another change of scenery. And I already said that once before. And that's pretty sad. I'm not totally writing him off, because a lot of what we could see is in his work ethic or lack thereof, and up here, what's upstairs, as far as whatever psychological barriers are preventing him from going ahead and succeeding as a basketball player. But if he ever gets it straight, you never know. I know we were talking about the fact that, yeah, if you wanted to send us 2 number 1 draft picks along with him, we'll go ahead and give him a chance at the Lakers. I know that we were talking about that kiddingly, but not half kiddingly, because I think if he gets on the right team, he can repair somewhat of the damage that's been done.
Yeah, you're right, Gerald. There's always a chance at further redemption for him, but like you said, he needs another change of scenery. I agree. I don't personally see it now, given what's transpired, and he might have a rabbit up his sleeve still. He might have some sugar daddy from Saudi Arabia or China who's willing to pay him a lot of money to play video games on Twitch. I don't know. I don't see it, but it's possible. That's the only out I see for him, Joe, because as we've noted, and you've said it before, his work ethic is just, it's really it's not laborious. It's non-existent, it seems, outside of just the parameters of showing up and doing your job. If you're happy, right? If he's happy, this is a man who showed up like practice with a cell phone, right? And
Hey, Sean, come on, mental illness, come on.
I understand that plight, but what do you need?
Apparently,
you need blue radiation.
Apparently,
yeah,
bringing a cell phone when you're not supposed to is a mental illness. Sorry,
yeah.
we gotta. Apparently, not playing for an entire season, but making a grievance on money. Hey, that's a mental illness.
Oh my God!
So we need to be sensitive there, guys. Come on. Yeah.
Like I would have not enjoyed filing that paperwork if I was a member of the Players Association with that.
I mean, again, if you Laker Tom, Darren was saying Laker Tom would rather have would he rather have Vando or Simmons? I mean, if you're going to send me draft picks along with it, I'll take Simmons. We'll take Simmons. His contract is.
You give me 4 first-round picks.
Unprotected.
I'll take Simmons, and then I'll just release him or put him at the bench, because that guy will infect every bit of your freaking team to non-existent. That's the problem with that guy. He's not.
I think he would turn into a Gerald. Would you? Because to me,
oh yeah, he would probably be malcontent. Especially if he's not playing.
There's definitely like 99.9% chance he turns into like the Chad, like the Chad of Chads.
He's not had that
in LA,
like Christian Wood, because we always talk about Christian Wood. I know every Lakers podcast, again, as I said it now, it does it. It's talked about Christian Wood ad nauseum. Christian Wood and Ben Simmons have not had that come to Jesus moment where they've not yet realized the player that they are and what they need to do at this stage of their career. They still see themselves in a different light, and it's to their detriment. And because of that, the NBA sees them in a different light. And again, it's to their detriment as players, because of the fact that they just will not be able to go ahead and fulfill any kind of potential that they have left, because they're so stubborn as what they see themselves, what they once were, and feel that they don't have to work hard enough to get it. That's the word I get. Yeah. That's what I see. And that's also the stuff as far as behind the scenes that I'm hearing. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, Gerald. And again, like a lot of this is said through a lens of sadness as well, Gerald, because there's all that promise there. There's that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow with all that potential. It's just what Joe has a great quote. My dad used it a lot. It's like there's nothing worse than wasted talent. It's a sin. It's a sin against nature. Joe's talked about that before, about how wasted
And that's where
talent.
the disdain comes from. You're talking about a guy who's 6'10", who can D up, control the ball. He wouldn't have needed to play 45, 48% from the field, even if he was 43% from the field, but he was productive. He was so productive on defense and initiating the offense. Just care a little. And the Sixers would have won a championship.
The thing I want to add, though, in there is for Team USA. And once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate you joining us. Thanks so much for watching this. Please like and subscribe. I want to mention after today's USA victory, Team USA's 99-72 victory over New Zealand. I want to mention, though, a couple things as far as FIBA before we head out. And with Team USA, Sean, you and Darren in the chat have been saying that Haliburton should be starting for Team USA. You agreed with that. I disagree. And I'm going to say again, as I said earlier in the show, respectfully, that Haliburton has been playing extremely well. Under normal circumstances, yes, he should be the starter because Brunson, after some really, really good start as far as in the exhibition play, has started to tail off a little bit. I really think it's probably best to keep him and Austin Reaves together. Those two are playing with such synergy, Magic. If you mess that up, sometimes it throws everything out of whack. I mean, Austin Reaves today, 12 points, 6 assists, 3 steals. Absolutely what you need coming off the bench. Tyrese Haliburton, pretty much the same thing coming across the board. 10 points, 3 steals, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. Very, very, I mean, look at the productivity you have coming off the bench. Those two are playing, and they, with Steve Kerr, you can actually go ahead and have them close out games if you want. So I ask you, my friend, is it wise giving it maybe a second thought? Maybe not having Haliburton start the game? Because, I mean, okay, yeah, sure, you could take out Ingram. You could take out Brunson, maybe, and have them coming off the bench. But I would want to make sure I would team up Austin and Haliburton because they're working so well with each other.
I agree. So I don't want to sound like a hypocrite either, because earlier on the show I said I don't think they should be separated either. I just I think Darren's correct though. I think like if you looked at just the basic stats, Gerald, and the efficiency, you should probably put Hallie in the starting lineup. I also agree with you. It's a catch-22, right? Because I think in that instance, I think Austin would be fine.
I would either put both in the starting lineup or not.
Yes. And that's what my instinct was to say it again. Would you want to put Mikal Bridges back on the bench, though? Again, that's the issue.
I would put
there.
BI coming off the bench.
Yes, that's what I would do as well, Gerald. That's the person I would put on the bench.
And have Brunson come off the bench.
And have Brunson come off the bench and insert Hallie and Austin, because I think you're right, Gerald. I think if you separated them, I think that would affect Haliburton more than Austin. I think Austin would be fine coming off the bench, being that trigger man.
They play so well off each other.
But they play so well off each other, yes. And that was we saw that early on. Like in the Puerto Rico game, that's when it started. So we kind of saw that, okay, these two guys obviously like playing with each other. They have a natural synergy. They both also have complementary gifts off of one another, Gerald. Haliburton is a more attack. Austin's more passive aggressive. He is aggressive, but he takes his time, Gerald. It's more of a not a 6 shooter like Hallie is. It's more of he's not a Doc Holliday. He's more of I'm gonna wait it out and come out from out of the barn with a double gauge.
Absolutely. And Joe, before we head on out, and Sean, as our FIBA expert so far, want to go ahead and touch on one last thing, and that is the very disheartening loss for the Philippines. I want to go ahead because we got so many Filipino viewers, so many people from the Philippines that sends us good wishes on each and every show, Joe. It's so disheartening and so heartbreaking to see their narrow 87-81 loss. Jordan Clarkson played his absolute heart out, and you can see his emotions there. After the game, he had just the tears flowing and just sad because he really truly wanted to win. I think if anybody out there in FIBA playing in the World Cup right now wanted to win a game more than him, I doubt it, because the sheer emotions on how he was so affected by not being able to pull it out for the Philippines was evident right there, my friend.
Of use it as a springboard to future advancement of basketball in that country. That's the only thing you can do. This is the beginning for the Philippines. If they start growing their children there into liking, or I should say, they already like basketball, but into playing basketball, this is now maybe a springboard to that. Unfortunately, size in the NBA is very, very important, and it's difficult from my viewing in terms of the Philippines. You don't really get a lot of 6'7", 6'8", 7-foot type players out in the Philippines. That's always going to be a disadvantage to them. So they're going to have to.
They do have the 7-foot kid that's out there.
Oh, I'm not saying there aren't tall guys here and there, but they don't grow on trees like they do in America and Russia and places like that. But it's a start. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't hear the team Philippines for basketball.
Hi Soto, he's 7'2". Again, someone that I wish he was a little bit more talented.
And no, not all 7-footers are created equal. Actually, I'm sorry. Almost all 7-footers in the world are created equal. And what I mean by that, almost all, they're not very pliable. Usually 7-footers are kind of debilitated. When you see Shaquille O'Neal move the way he used to move, and even now, I don't think people really understand how much of an anomaly he was. No one that big should be moving that way. And he was like 8 levels even higher than that. Most 7-footers in the world can't move. They have back problems, knee problems. Their health is bad because their organs, they probably have some giantism situation going on. They're not equipped to play 48 minutes of basketball. But it's a start. It's a start, and you know that country will support that sport greatly should they start to put some things together here in the next 10 to 20 years.
Magic Man, before we head on out, wanted to ask you your thoughts on FIBA. I know you've been giving people great updates so far. Your thoughts, my friend, on what you've seen so far from the rest of the FIBA games in the World Cup so far.
Yes, Gerald. Just to point out, the Ken Griffey Jr. gigantism on the softball episode of The Simpsons was funny. I'm not going to lie, but that, like Joe said, that's a very serious ailment. As far as FIBA goes, to open up with, I'll just say, Mr. Soro will be happy with this factoid. In the Serbia-China game today, Serbia blew them out by over 40 points, and Joe will be happy to know that Kyle Anderson, a nationalized Chinese player, was held scoreless in 25 minutes.
Really?
Yes, held scoreless. Serbia looks like they might be a very big factor in this tournament, Gerald. They were firing on all cylinders. Bogdan Bogdanovic was the ringleader. They were very efficient from beyond the arc. They could be a very dangerous team in this tournament. Could spoil a medal for a Canada or a USA. Don't sleep on Serbia right now.
Okay. You think
Spain.
anybody's going to give them a test? Canada, Serbia.
So is Steve Kerr going to coach Turkey in 4 years?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think he's just a United States citizen, sir.
I'm sorry. Was he born in Beirut? I'm sorry.
I think he was.
Beirut.
I believe he was. Yeah, his father
Yes.
was a diplomat.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
maybe he can coach Lebanon because he's Lebanese.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think
No?
so. I don't think that's an option.
Kyle Anderson. I don't know. I might wake up tomorrow and feel like I'm Sudanese.
But you're not.
I might move there.
Speaking
Hey,
of,
you can't deny it. You can't deny it. You can't deny it, Sean. I'm sorry. That's not nice. You shouldn't do that.
Speaking of Sudan, I'm glad Joe just that popped into his head that was the game of the night. Yeah, that was the game of the night.
It's called the segue.
Yeah, Puerto Rico just survived by the skin of their chinny chin short hairs. With South Sudan, Carly Jones went off, Gerald. This guy is like a perennial G leaguer. Just went off today. I think he had over 30 points. I think he had over 10 assists as well. I just glanced at it, but I saw the highlights. He was just incredible. So that was the game of the night. Carly Jones hits 3 free throws, but Puerto Rico survives 101-96. One of Gerald's favorite players, Goga Bitadze. And
Bitadze, yes.
Yes, Bitadze. He played well tonight for Georgia. Again, Georgia's another sleepy team here, Gerald.
Indiana just let him go, and Orlando just said, well, thank you.
Take him.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And even with the glut of big men they have, he's a very productive player. And Alex Mamukashvili, who might play a lot with Wemby this year, Gerald.
Yeah.
Those two in the front court make Georgia a very good team. They happen to beat Cape Verde. Do you know where Cape Verde is, Gerald?
Absolutely not. Not
All
up
right.
on my geography. So
All right. I thought I was up on my geography too, and I had to do some research here. So it's 400 nautical miles off the west coast of Senegal.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Moving on. Greece beat Jordan, Gerald, and no Giannis. I think Greece is going to run into a buzzsaw on Monday when they play the United States. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So they happen to beat Jordan by 20 points today. Great. You're about to lose by about 25 or 30 come Monday.
But what about Canada? I mean, that's the team I think a lot of people are pointing to, Canada or France, because of the NBA connection there.
Yeah. Gerald, I thought that would be a nail biter, and Canada just blew them up by 30 points, my friend. I've never seen a Canadian basketball.
Yeah, Canada is really, I think, going to be a formidable foe, Joe. I think if any team is going to be, especially with the kind of experience in the NBA that Canada has, I really think that's going to be the major confrontation for them. Spain, you could say Germany gave them problems in the exhibition, but I think it's going to be Canada. 9 NBA players on that roster, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, let's say, Spain. Spain won by 30. Serbia won by 100, practically. Slovenia, whooped Venezuela. Brazil almost doubled up Iran. Greece, 20 by 20. There's way too many. There's no middle ground in this tournament. It's either you're really good or bad, and then the really good are going to get dusted by USA or Canada. And the reason why Canada is going to be a threat is because 80% of their team is NBA players. So it's not a surprise. I haven't had a chance to check and see everyone on that roster. I want to see who's really Canadian. I know some of them were born there, but the reality is, are they really Canadian? I mean, they just did this so they could spread the wealth out, which is not real. They did it to spread the wealth, to make this competitive, but it's fake. Some of these guys are not Chinese. Some are not Canadian. Some are not Puerto Rican. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know. Just more fake stuff for the greater good, which if the basis of everything is fake, then how is it going to be good?
I think most of the Canadian players, if not all, are native Canadian.
Good. They live in Canada?
Or they were born in Canada.
Mm.
They have to earn their keep in the NBA. So are you faulting them because that they're playing for Team Canada, even though they play, and if they were born in Canada, they're playing? Are you faulting them for playing for Team Canada because they play in the NBA?
Well, I just don't think if you're Canadian, you play for Canada. But if you're not Canadian, you're not Canadian. I mean, this Kyle Anderson thing is a joke. China? Where did they find that? Like, how did they justify that? Canada, I'll give you a little bit of leeway. You know, it's still kind of like, it's North America. If you're born in Canada, I'll buy that. Steve Nash, right?
Huh.
But I don't know. Maybe I'm sensitive to this because it's not real. You're justifying some trail of some kind of ancestry and saying, "Oh, I'm Chinese," or I'm English. You've been in America your whole life. How are you English? You know, you're apparently you're playing for Senegal, but you've never even been there before. How does that work? It's obvious why they're doing this. They want to spread it out. They want to even out everything. And I'm not a supporter of that. Either you have it or you don't. If you're not qualified to play because you don't have enough NBA talent type players, then you shouldn't be in the tournament. Luka, Slovenia, yeah. Slovenia, Russia, yeah. There's a lot of NBA players that are from Russia, from Slovenia. That makes sense. It's just, I don't know. That part's just weird to me. I don't get it. Why is Iran in this tournament?
They qualified.
Did they?
There was qualifiers, just like
Versus
for
what?
Team USA.
Why are these teams getting whooped by 50 then? Why is China getting whooped by 50?
Well, again, it's just something that you're going to have to see because there's just that different levels. There's a certain number of teams that qualify for this tournament, and unfortunately, international basketball is still at the point where the parity is just
and
not
they
there.
tried to circumvent that by figuring out some lame scheme to throw a couple of NBA players in this country and that country. I'm not sitting around worrying or crying about it all day, but since we're talking about it, it's pretty stupid. I'm sorry, but that's what I got to tell you. Kyle Anderson playing for China? Really?
Yeah. We talked about this,
No,
right? It's the
I'm not gonna
FIBA.
no. Yeah, I'm not gonna come off that. It's almost said something I shouldn't have said. It's BS.
He was about to say it's a Bananarama bullshit. That's what he was about to
that's
say.
what it is. It's crap. It's crap. It's a lie. It's fake.
At least you did it right near the 1 hour
It's
mark.
lame.
So I know where to hit
it's lame and it's fake. Anything lame and fake is lame and fake, and I have no respect for it.
I ladies and gentlemen, this man is not incorrect.
Well, but he was going off on Team Canada while you were gone. So as far as
another thing that's really bad is Gerald's interpretation of what I say.
Well, when you say
I didn't go off on it in Canada. I said, why are there so many Canadian basketball players all of a sudden? When before all you had was Steve Nash and who else?
Jamal McGlure.
Yeah, that's it. Jamal McGlure and Steve Nash.
Can't you maybe realize the fact that they maybe have developed their basketball program enough?
Are you imagining this? Do you want me to imagine what's going on, or did it happen?
Well,
But,
Sean
like,
would know better than anybody.
yeah, it's a lot of these guys are around the same age. Sans Dylan Brooks, who's a little bit older, but SGA, uh, Kelly Olynyk, all these guys have played in the system together, Joe. They've been playing together since they were teenagers. A lot of these dudes, like Jamal Murray, SGA, Shaden Sharp, they're all kind of from the same like GTA area, so they've all kind of grown up together. And I mean, as Gerald was saying, Andrew Nemhard, Benedict Mathurin, they can't make this squad because they're so deep yet. So they have to wait their turn. Sharp can't make this squad. So at least for the next 4 to 8 years, there's a funneling system that's working here. But at the same time, I also have to, I was talking with Joe on playback, and everybody can go to our channel. Please subscribe to playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. You can see a replay of what we were talking about, and I just mentioned to Joe that there are some guys who call themselves Canadians, and then they duck out after the second year of high school in the 10th or 11th grade. They go to what's that big academy in Florida, Gerald? What's it called?
I know what you're talking about.
Montford? No.
Mount Vernon. Is it Mount
But
Vernon?
yes,
Okay.
that's the one.
But there's also what CMA, not CMA.
There's CMA, there's a few of them.
yeah,
There's a couple of them. Yeah, there's a few
they start out in
factories.
Canada, but then they go to the USA and develop their game there.
Yeah, exactly.
So pardon my ignorance. Steve Nash was born in South Africa.
That's correct.
Yes. Okay. Because we thought it was Lebanon, but I know he has
Lebanon
ties
was
to the Middle
Beirut
East.
was Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
Playing for South Africa.
Yeah. Yes, he did.
But I'll just say right now, again, the international hoops, there are sometimes some things that are questionable about, like you said, Kyle Anderson with China. I mean, he has no direct ties to China. And it's just something, again, like you're saying, that trying to create some type of parity when it's not entirely there. I get it. I understand it. But when you have
Kyle
someone
Anderson was born in New York.
Yeah, New York. But I mean, to be fair, right? We were just talking about Puerto Rico and South Sudan. Does anyone no, of course you guys wouldn't. Royal Ivy is the head coach of South Sudan. Royal Ivy was born in Harlem, New York. So I understand, Joe, but certain nations, they want to build up their basketball program. You got to start somewhere, right? And I hear what you're saying. Kyle Anderson is from New York, New York. What relationship, if anything, do you have with the nation of China? Nothing. So,
Anthony, you're not trolling at all. You're just sharing your opinion. But to ask Joe to dial it back that's just. I've tried 2 years. I actually tried 2 years ago, and that was a lost conversation. He's good, Joe. He's Joe Sorrell. He is going to rub people the wrong way, and he's got a lot of supporters as well. That's just who Joe Sorrell is, and I understand that his opinion. That's why I put the disclaimer below, and he's allowed to express his opinion on this show, and whether or not you disagree or agree with it, that's as long as you're able to come with us with a respectful discourse. That's what we appreciate here on the show. So
absolutely,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, not everybody agrees with my opinion or Sean's opinion or Joe's opinion, but as long as you come at us with a respectful fashion like you are, Anthony, it is greatly appreciated and welcomed on this show. So.
And Gerald, before we veer off, what needs to be said today is that, again, the nation of Slovenia leans heavily on Luka Doncic to win international basketball games. That's one nation that is a little leaky when it comes to talent, Gerald.
Yeah, there's a big drop off after Luka. We saw that when the Team USA played them earlier this month.
Huge.
When Luka's not in there, it's just not the same challenge.
Absolutely, and they needed 37 points from him today, and they also needed Mike Roby, who's an American, by the way, who's born in America, to go perfect from the field. Gerald, I believe he's perfect from the field, perfect from the line, perfect from deep. They needed 21 points from Robbie and Luka Doncic to just barely get over a Venezuela team who has very good basketball players. Not great, Gerald, not elite, but Venezuela has very good basketball players. And as you said, there's a huge drop off. And I don't unless he goes bonkers again, I don't think he's going to be able to put that Slovenia in a chance to medal.
And I blame Joe. I kind of agreed with Joe if it's not a direct relation, if it's like, okay, your second cousin's other mother's boyfriend's neighbor was this country, sure, come on, you can go and join us. I get that. I understand that, Joe, and I agree with you on that it gets a little in recent years, it's gotten a little bit afraid as far as what the exact requirements for someone to play on some of these teams, and I get that, but obviously you see what their goal is. Their goal is trying to go ahead and make a more even play, because you don't want to see the teams that lose by 100 out there. That's still happening, but it is less and less. The world of international basketball is starting to tighten up, and I know with you saying that, of course, some of the reasons why behind it are not exactly endearing to you. It is the fact that the inner world of international ball is slowly coming together a little bit more. It's getting a little bit more challenging.
Okay, so there's no excuse on it being slow anymore. We have a world wide web of information. We can get information like this anywhere we go. Scouting reports, training programs, all this stuff. And if you're still faking it through all that, then maybe you're just not good enough. And maybe you shouldn't be playing. I'm about talent, guys. I'm about real talent. That's what I'm about. If you don't have the real talent, don't do it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see 50-point losses. Iran qualified based off what criteria? They're losing by 50 against teams that are not that good. So imagine how bad they are. How the hell did they qualify? What were they, going into the sticks?
Like Brazil's a pretty decent international team. Yeah,
is it by section,
right,
Magic Man? Is it by section? Like, for instance, the Middle East play against each other for a qualifying spot? South
absolutely,
America?
Gerald. Yeah, absolutely. It goes by the Americas. So, Brazil, Canada, the United States, Venezuela, we're all in the Americas. And then you have the Africas, and then you have obviously Europe, and then obviously the Middle East. So there's I will say this though, at the top end, there is definitely a plethora of talent around global basketball. I mean, Gerald, just to cap it off, Spain beat Cote d'Ivoire, otherwise known as the Ivory Coast. Willie Hernan Gomez was the ringleader there, but Usman Garuba was not far behind.
I've Hernan Gomez becomes available if he gets
be
waived.
Perfect for the Lakers, Gerald.
Yes.
Perfect for the Lakers.
6'10", got some size and can shoot.
Can shoot and can really facilitate if you
and
really
he's
need.
Never gotten a chance to play any big minutes on any team.
No, I mean, again, it's almost as if New Orleans is where big men go to die, especially if they're talented.
Valanciunas. If Valanciunas became available, perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Laker Tom's dreams would be made.
Yeah. New Orleans is slowly becoming the big man's elephant graveyard in the NBA. It's where all the good big men go to die.
Joe has kind of actually got
a chuckle. I got a chuckle out of that, man, for that.
Yes.
But and Gerald, looking forward to tomorrow. I think the Philippines get off the schneid. They're playing Angola.
I hope so.
I hope so. I think Jordan Clarkson will be, on another level.
I think
mentally.
He scores 50.
Yeah, I think he'll want to. He'll definitely try. I think he'll be the player of the day tomorrow, Gerald, no doubt. Probably the game of the day is probably Australia and Germany, Gerald. That will be a highly competitive game. It's on early, so if everybody wants to maybe check out a good basketball game tomorrow, that would be the one to check out. You can always go to playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break, because I will be watching it, so everybody can probably catch the replay.
Okay. Monday morning, though, 5:40 in the morning on ESPN2 is Team USA. Is that correct?
That's right. I'll be watching that one too. So if everybody wants to drop by or catch the replay, check us out on playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break.
There you go. Absolutely, indeed. But before we head on out, I want to report some good news because I said we would give you updates on Bronny James. And Joe, the good news is that with Bronny James, he was diagnosed with a congenital heart defect that causes cardiac arrest. But the good news is that he could return to basketball in the very near future. One of his USC teammates actually had something very similar, and he is able to be he's back out on the court. So your thoughts on this, my friend? Obviously, it's good news to hear that he will be okay, will be able to live a long and full life, most likely, and be able to go ahead and it's looking more and more like he's going to be able to be on the court once again.
It's good. Good for him. When you hear congenital heart failure stuff, you start to go, what? I don't know if there's an aortic valve issue or what, but it seems like they're pretty comfortable that it can be fixed and he can continue to play. So if the doctors say it's good, then good for him, and hope the best. I hope all the best for him.
Absolutely.
Gerald, Gerald, if I may, I've shared, unfortunately, I've shared a couple links with our fellow Laker Fast Break colleagues about young college players of basketball and football over the past few weeks dying, just collapsing. We also heard about a New York Giants football player who had a medical event recently, Gerald. It wasn't particularly warm that day in New York City, and the Giants really haven't given a further update about what happened, but the way Daniel Jones and other players were describing the incident, he had to be given CPR as well.
My goodness.
Yeah. So what we need to understand now is that what's so positive is that with good CPR, and now every facility you go to has a defibrillator, that long lives can be saved. And Bronny James is a great example of that. Great CPR was given to Bronny James, and that's the only reason he's alive today.
Absolutely. And you would know firsthand, you had experience doing that. What's it like when before we go, I got to know, as someone who had that experience as an emergency representative and someone, a paramedic who was on the scene, what's it like when you see that situation and you're able to realize that you just helped bring that person back to life?
Yeah, Gerald, I can only describe it as an out-of-body experience. That's what it feels like.
In a good way, not the other way.
In a good way. When everybody, because you're together, everybody's kind of in the same mode. Is that we're trying to bring someone back, and you have to just go blank and just remember that this person requires incredible CPR. So elbows locked. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you just keep counting, Gerald. And you just keep counting. And somebody's applying those pads to the chest while somebody else is performing CPR. And it needs to be rhythmic. And that's
do you do a song like "Staying Alive"?
Yes. That's the one that's normally used.
Okay.
You can also use Queen as well, but that was a little on the dark side, but that's the one I always used in my head. Okay. But yes, Staying Alive is good.
Okay, fair enough indeed. Sean, I appreciate that. I just know that it's got to be the best part of your job when you're able to go ahead and help someone in need like that. So
it's amazing, Gerald. It's really amazing.
But great news to hear about Bronny James, that he could be back on the court sometime soon, which could lead to the fact that, yes, I don't think that Bronny come to being a one and done. That is kind of out the window, Joe. He probably looks like at this point in time, if he does come back to the court, he's going to be probably a full 4-year player for USC or whatever he chooses to do in his career. The thing, though, is, when it comes to LeBron, he might still have the desire to play with one of his sons, but does the focus shift now on Bryce instead of Bronny as far as him playing with one of his sons?
I don't think it's looking like he's going to be playing with either one.
You sure? Because Bryce could come out, in 2 years, Sean?
You still have to be. You still have to have
2
NBA
years.
talent. You still have to have NBA talent, and you're talking about a population of 8 billion people. Only 450 people are playing in a given seat, or I should say, in a given day throughout a 15 game setup. So you're asking Bronny and Bryce to be one of 450 players to be in the NBA. I have to see it. It's difficult. A lot of guys don't make it. They don't make it because they can't make it. They don't have the physical ability to do it. They don't have the dedication. They don't have the want. It's difficult to be a professional athlete. It's very difficult. I know it looks easy on TV. You see the guys getting drafted in the NFL, especially if it's 7 rounds, or if it's baseball, you got like 80 rounds. It's not easy. You talk about difficult. Try hitting a 100-mile-an-hour fastball that's got a little bit of movement. You can't hit it. Only a handful of people in the world can do it.
Before we head on out, Gerald, I just have one question to ask you, gentlemen. Because of the nature of this injury to Shohei Ohtani, there have been rampant speculation that his worth now is about 50% less than what it was yesterday.
Didn't I call it 2 years ago?
Yes, you did, Gerald.
No.
Just wanted. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he. So I just
Jamie
wanted
and I
for
had
the
this
record.
argument.
For the
Jamie
record,
and I had
yeah,
this argument.
Jamie
I
and
said he should
Gerald
just
on a
stay hitter.
separate. Yeah.
No, I don't hear it. I don't remember.
No,
it's on YouTube,
I'll find
my friend.
it. Yeah,
Enjoy.
I'll find it because that
He just
needs
does
to
this
be
to bust your
posted.
balls.
Yeah.
He likes to discredit me at every turn, but
I don't get you guys every time when I do it.
Gerald, those were poignant words you had, man.
I just saw it. You could see it coming, that his arm was going to, just like most pitchers these days, these arms, Joe talks about, as far as from what do they do, as far as how they're playing, and, as far as in basketball, they go to all these games, they work so hard, they play in all these games during the course of the career, then they come to the NBA and their bodies are not able to go ahead and withstand the rigors of the actual season. Same thing with baseball. You go and you start out at Little League, like these kids playing the Little League World Series, like the El Segundo team, which just beat the team here from Henderson here in the Las Vegas area. Those kids, just imagine how well or how much that they're practicing and how much stress they're putting at their arms now to have those major league dreams. Same thing, is going on over the years. You play international ball, you play minor leagues, you develop. In the case of Shohei, he played years in the it's overseas before coming here. It just is so much work and on the stress on the body. You could see it coming, Sean. You could see it coming, where it was going to the point where one thing was going to be either his legs or his arms were going to go, and you could tell it was most likely the arms because he put so much stress as a pitcher on his arm.
Yeah, you know what, Gerald? Yeah, I mean, you were poignant. You were
Jamie and I were arguing about this.
Very tempered about it as well, and you were just telling Jamie it's gonna happen. Like it happens to everybody.
I DM'd him after it happened earlier this week, or was it last week? And he said, "Yeah, you were right."
Yeah,
begrudgingly, he said, "Yeah, you were right."
Yeah, I mean, I think Gerald.
They should have traded him and Trout.
And I think it's I don't know what kind of syndrome you would call this, but it happened with Porzingis as well, Gerald. It's almost as if these unique players with these skill sets come along and you get just distracted by all the unicorn references and the fairy dust around the kind of not the shell of what that potential is, but more of like the potential. And it's distracting and you don't see the forest for the tree sometimes. see, yeah, that elbow is not going to last.
You could see it coming. And Joe, who's an avid Dodgers fan, he's seen this year as far as some of the injuries hit the Dodgers. They've been able to sustain it and been able to still have a very solid season. How do they
Did
look
they
going
win
into the
today?
playoffs?
I need them to beat the Red Sox.
No, they
I thought
kind
they
of
won. I thought the Angels
they got
won.
hosed. They got hosed on a strikeout.
Oh, okay.
And Mookie they had bases loaded in both innings, and they came up short. One wasn't their call, strike three, but the pitching in a pitcher in Major League Baseball is similar to a middle linebacker in football. There's so much absolute. Actually, I could probably say running back, but I always felt like the middle linebacker position was worse than running back. But I'll use middle linebacker since I brought it up first. It's impossible to finish the way you want at that position. Pitching, you don't see Clayton Kershaw's, you don't see Scherzer's very often. Those guys are anomalies of anomalies. And Ohtani already had Tommy John surgery, I believe, 5 years ago. So that ship has already sailed once. If Walker Buehler is dealing with his second already, you got to get these guys within the first 3, 4, 5 years. Now, I don't know if this stuff was rampant in the 80s, 70s, and 60s. Maybe the velocity wasn't as crazy then, obviously. But if you watch Nolan Ryan pitch, you could see very, 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 very clearly that he used 90% of his force below his waist. He pitched 27 years in the majors. Maybe people need to start teaching the kids how to pitch like Nolan Ryan instead of just using their arm. Noah Syndergaard is a perfect example of a guy who is so stubborn that he thinks he will get back what he was when he can't. And DeGrom could have been Kershaw part 2, maybe even a little bit better, but he's also fallen apart, and you're probably not going to see him be his dominant self ever again. Strasburg, he was the greatest pitching prospect, at least in my generation, in my time, coming out of college, and he finally retired this year. He finally got tired of.
So it's interesting you say that, Joe, because like when I think so, when you mentioned Nolan Ryan, so I had his the image of him pitching in my head, right? And when I see that, my dad was a huge Cardinals fan. I remember Bob Gibson, and Bob Gibson got a lot of his force from below his waist as well. And my dad talked about Satchel Paige pitching below his waist as well. And these guys pitched like over 20 years too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's amazing you brought that up. Yeah,
it's
wow.
Your arm throwing 100 miles an hour, 95 miles an hour to 100.
It's just a statistical probability your elbow's going to explode at some point.
Your elbow or your shoulder is going to be dead, and they're not teaching these kids how to pitch the right way. So I don't know why. I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if it's kind of like a Tim Tebow thing, or where no matter how many times you try to tell Tim Tebow your mechanics stink, you need to create new ones. Well, too late. It's too late at 22 years old.
And Urban and yeah, that great point. That's a different conversation, but Joe brings up a great point.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah, you were going to mention Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer.
He didn't care. He didn't care about whether or not Tim Tebow was going to be a good quarterback.
And most coaches don't. Most coaches don't. The higher the level is, because they're about winning. They're about making.
Yep, that's it. And you're right. That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah. I mean,
college football's back tonight, though, baby.
Yeah, fight on, Gerald.
Fight
on, Gerald.
Got to put them on the Pac-12 network. Just get rid of the Pac-12 network. It's on like 5 cable outlets, and that's it. Give me a break.
I know. That Pac-12 after dark.
Why do you think USC is leaving?
Worst. That was
you know who cared though. You know who cared. The first name that comes to mind was Cal Bears head coach Jeff Tedford. If you look at Aaron Rodgers playing quarterback for Cal before he got drafted in 2005, He used to hold the ball like they did in those composites for football cards. He would keep the ball high. And then over his NFL time, you start seeing more of a kind of like a sling, right? So there are some coaches that do care. It's just that I think in the NFL, this doesn't work. It takes too long. So he needed to shorten his throw. Dan Marino, Aaron Rodgers had probably the best releases. Dan Marino by a half a second. The most gorgeous pass is Dan Marino, no doubt. And then Aaron Rodgers is close, and their accuracy is really what.
Do you agree with Miami that they retired his number with other sports? Like, for instance, the Heat, you don't wear the number 13 just because of Dan Marino, who never won a Super Bowl.
Pat
I understand
Riley,
how great a quarterback he is, but he never won a Super Bowl.
It doesn't matter if he didn't win a Super Bowl. He was, in my opinion, the best quarterback structurally and execution-wise that probably ever played. I'd say Patrick Mahomes might be the next closest. Yeah, because Dan Marino would have won Super Bowl. Steelers would have just drafted him.
I happen to think that Joe Burrow throws a better deep ball than Marino and Mahomes. Like maybe soft touch. You want to talk about throws on the run, but I would put that guy's deep ball against
And
any
somewhere Tom Brady
I've
is
seen.
just standing around with his MVPs and his trophies, just saying, "Yeah, Dan Marino, great job."
Gerald, do you know who has the 4th highest quarterback rating of all time?
Who is that?
Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is 31-28 as a starting quarterback. Just saying. A lot of people love throwing that QBR around.
I think that's the perception of football, and Joe and you would know more about it as far as than a lot of people, is that the perception is that, okay, if you have a great quarterback, that's how you're going to get to the Super Bowl. That's not always necessarily the case. I mean, Kansas City, yes, they've rode a lot off of Mahomes, but they've had the right people in the right places, which is the reason why they've flourished in these recent years.
In KC?
Yes.
In KC.
Yeah. I mean,
KC.
If Chris
he's a great player, but he's had to have great teammates in order to get it done.
Well, that's obvious, guys. But
if Chris Jones isn't one of your best players, Joe Burrow gets to another Super Bowl.
Marino never had a great defense.
He never had a great defense. No.
Marino's problem too wasn't just defense and running back and whatever. His stubbornness was his gift and his curse. He thought he could do everything. It's very similar to Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning lost a lot of playoff games because he was stubborn.
And Mike Vanderchat couldn't kick for shit.
What makes Tom Brady great more so than
Gerald, but he's a Canadian
number
too. I that guy is so despised around here. But I
really Vanderchat?
Yeah.
Really? Why?
Well, because how many Super Bowls did he cost the Colts? Because
he kicked one season.
Joe, he missed a couple big kicks in the playoffs outside of the Steelers one.
Didn't he have the highest percentage?
He did in the regular season. The postseason, he's not Adam Vinatieri, but who is? I digress. But that's the whole point. Joe was saying it's like you can't do it all. It takes a team. It's a team.
Football more so than anything, right?
Football more so than anything. And Gerald was alluding to it too. That sport more than all 4 of them requires a team.
I think Marino, in terms of the things he did at the time he did them, he was doing things. He was doing the same things that quarterbacks are doing now with the rules of then. That's the difference. Winning and not winning, it does play a part in the overall scope of things. But if you factor in just pure quarterback, Dan Marino likely is number one from what I've seen, and until basically Patrick Mahomes plays probably 2 or 3 more years. Because Patrick Mahomes He is one of the most talented NFL players I've ever seen in my life.
His dad was a really good relief pitcher. I that was when I was starting to really pay attention to baseball. When his dad, I remember Pat Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes is Brett Favre with discipline. You basically created the perfect quarterback.
Well, he inherited a lot of gifts from his father, Joe. I'm just saying.
I mean, there's a lot of players that have fathers that played professional sports.
His dad had quite the
Patrick
arm.
Mahomes. We've all heard about his wife and his brother and all this crap, right?
No, I haven't, because I don't pay
The
attention
fact
to
that he's not been infected by that stuff adds to the lure. The fact that he can wrangle it up. Heck,
yeah.
What he did to Kelsey at
he's
the White House, right? He's able to do it without being insulting. That's the other part that his level is so far.
He will eat a beautiful steak with ketchup. That's his only fault as a man. Other than that, he's a good dude. You don't eat ketchup with steak, Joe. I'm sorry. You don't do that. You do not do that.
Elvis ate peanut butter sandwiches with bananas, right?
That's all right. I've eaten that too. Like, what's wrong with that one?
Oh, yeah. Ketchup and steak. Anyways, I digress. We went way left on this one, didn't we?
Yes,
you could go. You could put HP sauce on it. That's fine.
I don't
brown sauce. That's fine.
It's funny.
You don't
people
put
talk
ketchup on it. You don't put ketchup or mustard on a steak.
People in the area will ask, "What's the best steakhouse in Temecula?" Now, Temecula.
What is?
It's not a rural area, but people.
It's a hole in the wall.
The people here have no money, right? And that's it's most people don't have money because they're
I don't
manage it, right? But the thing is, that question comes up every now and then. I'm like, there is no steakhouse here. I go, none of you broke ass people can afford it. You got to go to Del Mar, or you got to go to Orange County to get a good steak. Heck, even a good crab boil, you got to drive an hour away to get that. So
really,
yeah, oh yeah.
Really.
Temecula got rid of Temecula just can't sustain they can't sustain that kind of business. It's just people here are too this area was the last frontier. It's slowly going away. Last frontier of any shot of affordable housing in Southern California. It was the last place.
Last bastion, eh?
Yes, they're trying to build around in all those, meth areas, I call them. Hemet and Romo land and Homeland. There's these little like outskirts towns here and there in the Temecula area that everybody likes to be a part of the elite area, like people who live over here.
Stuffed shirts, yeah.
Apparently they're like, oh, well, we live in Red Hawk area. Oh, you live in Red Hawk area. So 10 feet where, that's trash cans. I go, okay, whatever. The guy with a trash can probably has more money than you do. Debt is not money, folks. So, debt is supposed to be used as leverage. If you want more financial tips, you can call me at 555-1432. So, but yeah.
Professor
By the way,
Money,
that's a fake number.
Professor
by the way,
Money,
for
Joe
everybody out there
Soros.
listening.
The key is with money. Don't tell people you have money.
Like that Seinfeld episode, Kramer went to the track.
Now you're probably confused.
Just waving it around and everybody.
You're confused.
In New York
right?
City, you're just waving around.
You are confused by me telling you that, right? You're confused. Like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Don't you tell us all the time about money? Yeah, but you'll never know it if you see me.
Fair enough, indeed. But once
and
again,
how do you know I'm not? How do you know I'm not lying? You don't. I could be broke right now.
He could step outside there, yes, and right there be just like on the street. There you go.
My PI friend,
his idea of the pool could be the
my PI
right
friend. my PI friend we always go back and forth because I keep telling this guy, you're not a businessman. and he wants to be a businessman. You get online degrees up the yin yang. I'm like, what are you doing? I go, this is trash. This is not going to do anything for you. Joe, you went to college. I'm like, I went to college 20 years ago. Grow up. You don't need a degree at 50 years old. Those days are over. You want to be a doctor? You want to be a lawyer? Okay. You want to be a doctor or a lawyer? No. I want to be a business guy. Business, go out and freaking sell stuff. You want to be business. You want to go work in business, you're going to have to go work for a boss that doesn't give two craps about you. One of those things that you got there. And I highly recommend the latter, not to do the latter, because at this point, no one needs anyone anymore. And if you tried to do it, I don't even know if anybody really works anymore. I had this discussion this morning. I don't know if anybody really wants to work. I keep showing people, hey, look, if you do what I do, you see the results. You know, I don't ride off in a Mercedes, because Mercedes are useless to me. I can't use a Mercedes.
Well, you know, see,
you have a 1997 Toyota Corolla.
A truck is not only useful.
According to Blue.
2015 Tacoma. Close.
A truck is not only useful, it's practical, especially if you're a business person.
Now, my truck looks good. It's clean. Yes. It's black. It's got a tonneau cover. It's got running boards. It's got nice rims. I'm not saying you don't dress yourself up. You know, we want nice, simple clothes, right? This is a simple outfit. It's a nice.
What did Frank Lucas say in American Gangster, Joe, to his brother? The loudest one in the room is the weakest one in the room.
Yeah. Usually the loudest ones are the ones trying to compensate for something, right? Again, I'm not saying don't buy a Ferrari,
but don't show up to a big fight with a chinchilla coat.
There's because he didn't know what a chinchilla coat was. He thought his wife gave him a present. He wore it, and all of a sudden everybody's like, "Hey, you're wearing a chinchilla coat that's worth $40,000." And then what did he do? He went and burned it. Sorry for the spoiler on that, guys.
Oh, come on, that's a great movie. If nobody's seen it by now,
the key is I told this story. I might have told the story to Sean and Gerald, but there's a difference between, let's say, a Jay Leno, a car guy, versus a guy that's getting a car to show it off. There's a difference. I'm not clowning people to buy a Mercedes or any of these cars. If you truly like the car, that's what you're supposed to do. Enjoy your life, buy what you want. But a lot of people who do buy these luxury cars or spend money on trash is so that they can show that they're somebody. I mean, it's basic stuff, isn't it? This isn't the first time you've heard this. So
that's $20,000 alpaca.
I'm going to keep it simple. I'll keep it simple, dude. To start a business, my advice to you, especially in this era, find something that people want. For example, 6 years ago, actually, technically I got into business 9, but on my own 6 years ago, I saw a market for artificial turf that people wanted. I tested it, and people wanted it. Therefore, I started investing in it. Literally, the last month, I got into flooring, like vinyl planking. People want that, especially right now with all the houses being built in the area, right? Find what people want, invest your money in that. If you don't invest your own time and money in something and then sell it, you are then going to be an employee your whole life. And if that's something you want to do, you don't want to deal with the headache of inventory and getting a place or being, on call, then you're better to be an employee. But if you really want to be on your own, you really want to control your schedule, find an item that people want, invest in that item, buying the product and then selling it. You can there's a lot of outlets that you don't have to spend a lot of money to sell, like the marketplaces, and very minimal investments in a lot of these social media type stuff. And then create a reputation. You got to create a reputation of someone who's communicative, who delivers, and who's going to back you up in case something goes wrong. You do that, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. But if you're not, you're better to be an employee, but just don't complain when you don't get what you want. Because let me tell you this right now, guys, I'm being dead serious when I say this. No one gives a flying F about you, except your family and your friends.
He's right.
That's debatable.
Condor's asking, true, Joe, but
about that before.
But what if you don't have the money to invest, Condor said?
If you don't have the money to invest, you are going to need seed money from someone. So let's say, I'll give you an example. My first purchase of turf was 22,000 square feet of turf that cost me $6,600. I borrowed that money and promised the person who lent me the money, who was a friend of mine, still a friend of mine, $3,000 on top of that, which is astronomically a lot. I did that because he's my friend, and I knew
Wow, that's that you wouldn't get that from a bank, ladies and
No,
gentlemen.
you wouldn't. No, banks are useless.
You wouldn't get
Yeah,
that from
banks,
any bank.
forget banks. Forget banks. You want to start small, okay? And you got to test the market. The way I tested the market was I was working for a company who was throwing away remnants. I would take the remnants that they threw away, sell them on Craigslist, and every single one of them sold. So then I got the idea, what if I pounce it on a negative, right? That's the other thing, is you got to find the negative. The negative is somebody needs to get rid of something that has value because they don't care or they're overwhelmed. Get that product. They wanted to charge me $12,000. I sat there and I started laughing. I said, I don't have anywhere near $12,000. And by the way, that still would have been a good deal at 22,000 square feet. I said, I don't have $12,000. I don't even have that close. I go, I have $6,000. I have half that. And then slowly it went up to 6,600. And I even told them, I said, you have to deliver it too. I don't have a truck to pick it up. They had no choice. They were getting fined every day for having it outside the warehouse. So I get that delivered. I turned 22,000 square feet of turf into roughly $30,000 to $35,000. I paid my guy $9,000 and I just kept rolling that money over. Discipline, just like working out in the morning. You don't want to do it, you do it. This morning, I really didn't want to go. Today was the 13th straight day I did spin. I did not want to go today. I go, you know what? I'm warranted a day off. And then I saw a David Goggins video for about 10 seconds, and I said, I think I'm going to go spin. The algorithm caught me. I think he heard me in my head. Stop being a bitch.
Thinking you're going to take a day off, Joe?
I'm not taking a day off. I'm on the wait list for tomorrow. I want to see how long I can go every day. And again, it's a discipline thing, guys. It's not. I'm obviously trying to get into better shape. I've been working out since I've been in junior high, but I have let myself go a little bit. I think I've gained a little too much weight over the last 10 years. It's time to get back to my playing weight. I have had a lot of fun. No regrets. I've enjoyed amazing food. I've had amazing things go on. But at this point, I am 45. I need to get back to my playing weight so that I can be around for my family at least another 10, 15 years.
The Husky man always needs to make it.
And again, guys, this is it. Luck plays a factor. I don't want to give you guys all this easy talk. Luck plays a factor, but that luck is still a seed that you have to plant. The luck part is creating your communication. If you're bad at communicating, don't ever run a business. If you can't be somewhere, that's communication. Being somewhere is communication. Don't run a business. My buddy, his brain is whatever his wife needs. Bad business. Your wife is number one and your kids are number one. I'm not saying it's not. But when it's showtime, my wife doesn't get in my way. And my wife is busy and she could use my help. But the payoff is when daddy's working, daddy's bringing home lots of money. She gets it. And when you bring home lots of money, you don't have to worry about a lot of things. That's the thing. That's the key.
My father told me once shortly after their 20th wedding anniversary, he said, Shawnee, happy wife, happy life. Remember what I said.
You got to pick the right wife, folks. You know, for number one reason, your children. I was never going to marry a woman who I didn't know 100% would be a good mother. Number two, you want to share your life with somebody. You want to share them between bad and good. Unfortunately, a lot of people can't do that. They haven't been able to do it. A lot of my friends are getting divorces right now. It's not looking good, folks. It's not looking good. And so if you're wanting to be successful, and it's really more about controlling your destiny. You're controlling your destiny. And we're in a time right now that I don't think we appreciate enough because we're so inundated with all this political garbage and feelings garbage and just pure garbage. We have communication. We have things at our fingertips that we've never had in the history of our life, history of humanity. Take advantage of it. Technology, all of it can help you. Do it. If you really want to stay away from somebody jacking you, you got to do it on your own. And what's going to happen is the state, the feds, the government, the authorities, they're going to make you not want to do it too. That's the point. The point is they don't want self-sufficient people. They need, I don't know, that wouldn't go that drastic. They want drones.
Lectures.
They want drones. They, as in the people who are in charge. People who are in charge, government officials, fire inspectors. The other day, the fire inspector came to my warehouse. Joe, do you have this? I'm like, do you not see the pallets here? What I'm doing? Does it look like I have time to worry about whatever the hell this is that I didn't even know you needed? You gave me this sheet. Check 1, check 2, check 3. 1, 2, 3. It's all done. Now you bring number 4. Why didn't you give me this 2 months ago? Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, sir. And I'm sorry, sir. I almost wanted to say there's a great line in Casino when De Niro's asking about why this dancer is overweight, and the guy's like, Mr. Rothstein's sir. He's like, never mind the sir. I almost said it the other day, but I don't think he would have known what the hell I was talking about. He looked like one of those guys that never leaves his house except to go bother people. So so that part, it's important. I wanted you guys to feel because you guys sensed a different vibe when I started talking about that. That's the part that's actually the hardest. Dealing with those mother effers. They put a wrench in it. So if you don't have the energy to deal with those types, I mean, seriously, randomly on a Saturday, like, mother, what? It's Saturday. What the hell do you want from me? I'm trying to work. I've been busting my rear end in this 98-degree weather, moving pallets that weigh 3,000 pounds, and you're asking me if I have a sign on my wall? What the hell is that going to do for anybody? I had 2 fire extinguishers that were fine. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You got to have this fire extinguisher. Oh, by the way, there needs to be a plate in the circuit breaker where there's a hole. I'm looking at it. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? This isn't even my place. I didn't even do what. This isn't my circuit breaker. Then they come in with oh, you need to be approved by, I'm trying to get my business license, right? Oh, you need to talk to the water district about a sewer. I'm like, sewer? I don't own the building. And they look at you because they're not used to somebody going, oh, they didn't question. Usually people are like, people usually go away and complain away because they're cowards, right? I'm sitting there, I'm like, what sewer? I don't own the building. What does the sewer have to do with my building? I'm selling turf. And well, Joe, there needs to be a clarification and a bypass. Oh, by the way, it's going to cost $300. I'm like, whoa. What sewer? There's a toilet in my warehouse. That's as much as I know about the sewer. I go, why is this my problem? There's no sewer. There's no septic tank around here. Like, I don't get it. So that stuff, how I'm reacting to that, that's the stuff that breaks people. Be careful of that. You can get through that, you'll be fine. But then again, I'm kind of weird in terms of I can handle stuff because I can talk. I can jack people up with my talk. Because when I was talking to the lady,
that you do.
Tell she was shrinking as I was talking to her because I had valid questions. What does this have to do with me? And she had no answers because no one asked her that question. What does a sewer have to do with my business? I don't know what to do. Well, Joe, you have to talk to the water district. I go, about what? I don't own the building. This sounds like a shakedown. You just want my money. That's what I said. And that was really what it is.
It sounds like a bad version of The Office.
You think I'm not exaggerating, guys? I swear to God, I went to City Hall. I'm getting a business license for landscaping. You guys are hounding me about a business license, about a place I don't even spend like 3 hours at for a week. It's a staging area. I don't sell anything out of here. It's a staging area. Well, Joe, you have to have a business license because of this and that. I go, I have a corporation. I have a license to freaking work. What the hell? What? I don't. Okay, I'll go get a goddamn business license so I can put it in my drawer like I've had this freaking thing for the last 20 years until I came onto the show. What the hell am I going to do with this? Where am I going to put it? In my ass? Right? There you go.
Joe sounds like
101.
Scott. Joe
Business
sounds like
101.
Scott Gray now from Training Day. What about
Business 101. Life 101. It's about life. It's not really about business. Business is part of life. Life 101. I'm 18 years old. I'm excited about college. All I've heard my whole life about college is 4-year degree, playing football. I'm going to San Diego State. Loved it when I visited. Boom, boom, boom. Cool. I'm driving the class. My first mother effing class. I'm driving there. I'm excited. I'm going to college. I'm a college guy. I was late 45 minutes because I couldn't find parking. That's life. That was the definition of life. You're ready to go do something, then you have to deal with somebody. I'm like, so then I go talk to the parking people. I'm going, hey, is there a place I can park? No, Joe, you have to, or no, he didn't say Joe because no, I was, but you got, there's not enough parking spots for everyone who goes to school. I go, that worked for the Titanic very well. That's interesting. Yeah.
Once again, it is life lessons.
Did you really say that? Did you really say that? I want to know. Did you really say that?
Did
No.
you really say that?
No, that was for you guys.
Yeah, that's
No.
what I thought. 18-year-old Joe, not yet developed into. Now, if it had been Joe,
Titanic came out 2 years later. I had the Titanic was until 98.
Thanks again for joining us right here at Life Lessons with Magic Man and Joe Soro. Of course, also as well known as the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate you joining us right here. Thanks so much for watching and listening. If you stuck around with us the whole way through, definitely we'll go ahead and come back on Monday with some more great stuff, including a Team USA recap. Magic Man, you have a guest coming on for Monday. Is that correct?
Yes, we do, Gerald. I'll be just confirming with Mr. Spencer Shaman tomorrow, but he's from Fireside Nets. We're supposed to have a great conversation about the Nets on Monday, Gerald.
Absolutely.
Tentatively scheduled right now for 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific.
And that will also include a Team USA recap as well. Joe, you've been asked by various members of our audience, do you believe in aliens before we head on out?
No.
Okay. There you go. That ended that. Sorry, everyone who was disappointed by the answer that it was not elaborate in more 10 minutes more in detail, but simple no. There you go, indeed. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break, aka Life Lessons with Magic Man and Joe Soro. Great to have you here. Please go ahead if you have any comments. Let us know right below. Also, as well, social media.
I'm sorry, I gotta I gotta change my answer. Yes,
here we go.
You live on Earth. They're your neighbors. They're the people you work with. It's just I don't use the word alien. I use a different word that's not politically correct.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah,
but once again, it is Life Lessons with Magic Man and Joe Soro, along with the Lakers Fast Break. Thanks so much again for watching and listening. Please go ahead and give us a shout out on social media. Please like and subscribe. We actually lost 5 subscribers overnight. Our big 200 plus drive for more subscribers. Hey, Magic Man, Joe, should we do a subscribe-a-thon like that? I guess the YouTuber that just got arrested because he was doing a live stream for like days. Should we do a subscribe-a-thon? I don't want to get arrested. I don't
want to get arrested, Joe.
Yeah, getting arrested in Canada is. I mean, I heard Canadian prisons are not very comfortable. Is that true, Sean?
Well,
you're asking him like he has personal
Joe,
experience.
is any prison comfortable?
I would say minimum security prisons in the United States, I'd say I've heard are not as bad.
Okay, all right, fair enough, fair enough. But you know something, Joe? Since you brought that up, there was a article in the paper that said that Canadian prisoners are asking to stay in jail. They don't want to come back to the outside. That's how great things are going for the rest of us. That prisoners from Canada want to stay.
That's a defeated attitude, and it's a defeated attitude because we're bombarded with
I don't know, man. Three meals a day, a cot. You don't want to come to this lunacy. You'd rather stay there. I'm thinking, wow, what world have we entered into, Mr. Sorrow?
It's not good because it's a defeated mentality, which is
That's right.
Which is what the powers that be, meaning the powers that be are several types.
Yes.
There's several types. It's not just one or the other. Actually,
you're talking about tentacles of power.
We're talking about people you don't know who's in charge. The people who are really good at what they do are not known.
Unseen, unheard.
If you know about them, then they're not that good at what they do. You got to be careful. You stay under the radar so that you don't attract attention and you can still do what you want. That's the best way to live. However, if you really want to have a legacy, you can be loud.
Yeah, nobody really knew who.
Make sure you wear a bulletproof vest.
Joe's right. Nobody really knew who Yevgeny Prigozhin was 2.5 months ago.
It's true. It's true. But I don't know.
His plane fell out of the sky, Joe.
I know.
Just fell out of the sky.
I don't think it fell. The fell out of the sky is the right term to use. It did fall, but looks like there might have been reasons why. Again,
yeah,
I don't want
Gerald got helped, right?
Yeah, it got. I think it got a little help. I think I'm pretty sure the reports are saying that it got a little help. So,
be careful.
Yes,
you got to be careful. If you feel uncomfortable, don't do it.
I'll tell you what,
though. It's a simple thing, isn't it?
Yes. Great job today from everyone out there, especially in the world's best Lakers chat room that's out there. Of course, it's the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate everybody taking time out of their weekend to join us right here for our Team USA recap. Also, as well, please go ahead and check out earlier show today, Lakerholic Spotlight. Those two guys, Jamie Sweet and Laker Tom, they went at it one more time. It's always hilarious to see them go back and forth and arguing and calling each other stupid and all that stuff. So go ahead and check it out today, right after this. Plus, also as well, I know there were some comments in the chat about Cade Cunningham. Please go ahead and check out the Detroit Pistons team outlook with Jasper that we did earlier this week. It was really, really good. It was actually something I think that you really need to go out of your way to see. And I also got another question for out there from a viewer talking about the thoughts of JaVale McGee. We did an entire episode earlier this week on the prospects of JaVale McGee returning back to the Lakers, our entire thoughts in detail on it. Please check out that episode. I highly encourage you to go ahead and check out the back episodes if you missed any from earlier this week or even earlier this month. We've had a great time covering a ton of subjects. The team reports will continue. You'll get to know everything that's going on in the NBA, and you'll get it right here at the Lakers Fast Break. So for Magic Man Sean Grice and Joe Soro, this is Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for watching and listening. Truly appreciate you joining us on this fabulous Lakers weekend. Guys, any last rants or thoughts with what maybe let's finish it right on the nose, 2 hours. Any last thoughts in those last 50 seconds?
No.
Go Canada tomorrow, go USA Monday. Hopefully they both advance.
Absolutely. Kurt says, I loved watching the video today of fans saying, Austin, you're him. Absolutely. Just great sign to see that he is so popular in the Philippines, that he is him in the Philippines. Great to see. He's been playing well. I am hoping, Kurt Affair, that he just absolutely, and by the way, that's a great name. I've always wanted to compliment you on that. I know the secret of why that name is, why it's so lured in pop culture, but I don't want to go into detail on why. Actually, you got to look that one up. I think that one's kind of, I may mention it down the line, but I will say though that hopefully that Austin Reaves can translate the success into a great future with the Los Angeles Lakers. Scarlet and Blue, one last thing. These games are almost as bad as the real NBA games. No defense and really poor officiating. It would be nice if there would be teams that would actually, on offense, move without the ball. I think you're reading into what Joe's saying right there. Joe's having a hard time dealing with a lot of this international games as far as not being close. And yeah, absolutely, indeed.
You know, you've had 31 years since the Dream Team came to international ball, and you still have you're still bad in so many places, yet you're trying to spread out NBA players to other countries so you can make it competitive. That's where my gripe is. It's a fake. It's fake. It's fake. It's not real. You're creating stuff. You're saying you're something when you're not. And calling it ignorant, calling it you don't know your stuff. No, I do know what's going on. I'm not stupid, guys. My whole life, my whole job, my whole existence is snuffing out BS. That's what I do every day. I don't just work. Work is part of it, obviously, but it's the ability to sustain things in life, work, personal, is to sniff out BS, because when you do, you find yourself in less crap, because most people are full of shh.
Okay.
Sorry, it is what it is. And a lot of times they're your closest friends, they're your family. Sometimes they're people in your immediate family. And it's difficult. It's difficult for them. It's difficult for people to truly get that response. It bothers them because no one does it regularly. If they are getting it regularly, usually it was a parent that was so negative that they heard it all the time. No, that's not fair either. But when you're wrong, you need to be told you're wrong, and stop telling me something is real when it's not. I'm not sitting around going, oh, this is fake, and then walking away. No, I'm going, what's going on here? Why is this? What is this? What's going on here? What happened here? And then I'll assess it. Well, how is that the case? Well, I don't know. It's because they said. That's not good enough for me. No. And the play is, what was the team we played the other day?
Which one?
The day, Spain, was it?
Spain, Germany, Slovenia.
No, sorry, I forgot. It was the
Greece,
one.
Puerto Rico.
Sean. Puerto Rico.
That was the first game in Las Vegas.
The one we were watching, Sean. What were the two teams?
Yeah, Puerto Rico and USA, Joe.
Okay, USA and Puerto Rico. What was Puerto Rico doing the whole time?
Just chucking up threes.
Chucking up threes.
Their life.
Yeah, that's basketball?
No, it is not.
We
Joe.
chuck up
That's
threes at the gym, guys. I've played enough basketball at the gym to have a career, right? That's what you do when you're tired. I've done it. We all do it, right? It's lazy. It's lazy because these guys are not good enough to play. It's not good basketball. It's crap quality. To me, I'm done with it. I'm done with bad quality. If I could change everything I have in my life, even this trash from China, if I could change this to USA and it was a little bit better, I'd pay another $1,000 for it. I really would. I'm tired of trash, guys. I'm tired of fake stuff. And if it comes off mean, if it comes off insensitive, I'm sorry, but I have legitimate reasons why I say it, because no one else is doing it. No one says it because they're worried about being judged or being mean. F that. Forget that. I want quality and everything. That's all I want. I want quality, because when you have quality, that means good things are going to happen. Crap, you get crap. I don't want it. I want it. Just so like the show. How many shows are there out there that you guys have channeled into, and it just looks like some guy sitting on a toilet talking? Like 90% of them, right? And then they're wondering why their show has 4 followers.
Yeah.
So, Magic Man, was the game good in Toronto?
Well, you know something, Gerald? Chris Bassett actually pitched really well. Good enough to win, but Yeah, when George
Good enough to
Springer,
win are the key
when
words
George
right there.
Springer and Vladdy Guerrero only get 2 pitches, and the rest of your offense is crap, you're not going to win many games. It's the story of the Jays this year. They either score 7 runs in a game or they get shut out.
Could be worse, Magic Man. You could be an Angels fan and see that
Yeah.
our future is really bleak after.
Yeah, I believe the Angels have a recent World Series that the Jays don't, Joe.
Well, this century, absolutely, yeah. But that's one.
Yeah, but you guys had 2 in a row.
Yeah, that's true.
You just had one out of the.
I remember those two. I was young enough to actually remember them.
Vividly Mitch Williams throwing a hanger that Joe Carter sent to the stands.
That's one of the great all-time World Series home runs. Right
Mitch
there.
Williams had one of the greasiest mullets I've ever seen.
The whole team had a greasy mullet. Ron Cook was on that team.
Joe.
That was the appeal. It was the perfect Philly team, right? Mitch Williams, if he doesn't have those 2 bad games in the World Series, Philly wins that series.
Yes, that's right.
That's really what it came down to. He had 2 bad games in that series, and they lost both, and the Jays won in 6.
The Braves one was kind of that one, obviously. I mean, it stands a bit above the Philly one.
Really?
Yeah, the Braves one.
Was it because it was the first one?
Yeah,
that makes sense. I can see that.
But yeah, a lot of Jays fans will take the Philly one over the Braves.
I haven't heard that before. I always get the impression from, I don't know any really Jays fans around here that never ever.
But you know something? It's weird though. I see a lot of Jays fans from California though. They're very popular in the state.
There is a habit of people way where you are, like the Northeast and then the South Canada, where they're like, we want to go as far away as we can, and they go all the way to the tip end of like Southern California. There were a lot of people from Boston when I first moved to San Diego. A lot of people.
Right?
You guys
really?
Where you guys from?
Really?
Either they were from Northern California or they were from like the Northeast. I'm like, did you guys just point at the map and go send me to the furthest place in the mainland? I don't know, Joe. I just wanted to, get away from the weather, and I was like, okay.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. I want to thank you so much for watching, listening. Scar Blue says that he is pissed off the Max Muncy ejection today at Boston.
That was bad. That ump should be slapped in the face. His strike zone the entire day was 2 inches off the plate, 3 inches off the plate. And
there you go.
The Dodgers in that one, it sucked. But they shouldn't have given up. I mean, they were up 4-2 late in the game, and Urias is hanging off on a thread. I know he had come back a little bit playing well, but I don't know if he's going to have enough in the playoffs. They're going to need to monitor him very, very, very well. He probably won't last 4 or 5 innings, so they're going to definitely need the bullpen to pull their weight to win a World Series, or Mookie and Freeman and the crew need to score 6.
Really get hot. Someone needs to really.
But I said that at the beginning of the year. I said if the Dodgers are going to win the title this year, they're going to have to score 6-7 runs in the playoffs. Otherwise, they're toast.
Kurt Affair, last question: what happened to Manoah? Joe?
Manoah?
Yeah, Alex Manoah is for the Jays, Gerald.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, my bad.
Yeah. What happened to Manoah was I think he got a little too over his skis with his confidence, because Gerald, I remember a great quote my hockey coach once told us. He's like, boys, let me tell you something about this game. You need to black out from one great play to the next, because you're either the dog or you're the hydrant. And sometimes you're going to be the hydrant, boys. That's just the way this game goes. And he was right, Gerald. He's like some days you're going to be a gas can. And I guess for whatever reason, Manoah his stuff is not good this year, and he's been taxed really bad. Like, he was really confident. Like, this kid from South Beach, Miami, born and raised. Love his story that, his mother raised him by herself, and he's a confident kid. But yeah, I mean, Kurt, he just ran up against confidence that over his skis he can't handle. Hopefully, he gets it back, because Gerald's guy who I really loved was Ricky Romero from Southern California, but Ricky Romero's arm just, I don't know what happened with him, Gerald. He was an amazing pitcher for you, for your Trojans, and then for the Jays, and he just fell off a cliff, man. It's sad.
What'd you cook up today?
We got kebabs. So we got kebabs heating up in the stove right now.
Yes, I know Magic Man's recipes. That's something he's working on behind the scenes. Absolutely. Once again, Condor's asking, how good of a chef is Joe?
I don't really cook. My cousin's a chef, very good chef. So if you ever need some good food, at the Temecula, I'll take you to his restaurant. It's a restaurant called Savage Chef.
So
it's in the city of Menifee.
So you can't scrounge up something yourself? Come on.
I'm good at barbecuing.
All right.
Baking,
something.
No.
Come on.
Yeah, baking, no. Breakfast, I can cook breakfast very, very
like well. If you're, for some reason, if your wife had to go away, could you make your daughter's dinner?
Oh yeah, of course.
All right. See,
but I don't parade myself as any kind of cook or chef. It's not my thing. But I can make food if I need to. And
so what's your go-to dish?
Like, lately it's been healthy food. Like today, Gerald's favorite place, Jersey Mike's, I didn't get a sandwich. I got a salad sandwich.
Double points on Fridays.
Yeah, for the first time.
Salad sandwich.
A salad sandwich. So they took the Philly cheese and the whole thing, and they put it in a bowl instead of put it on bread.
So you don't have the carbs.
Correct.
We don't have that option.
I enjoy salads.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not saying I don't eat carbs, but commercial bread tends to be heavy. I don't like the way it makes me feel during the day.
Looking back, I regret every Subway sandwich I ever bought.
I don't think I regret anything when it comes to food, because food is, to me in my life, food has been a social thing. It's never been an emotional thing. I've never been like eating because I'm emotional.
No, Joe's not Tony Soprano. He doesn't eat his feelings.
Yeah, no, and that's the sad part about it. The great thing what made Tony Soprano great is he was identifiable for the world, right? I did not, but we had a way to identify.
Except that what Tony ate his feelings, Joe doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. People identified with what he was. But I say people identified with the 6 or 7 different types of people he was. What I identified with Tony Soprano was when he needed to turn it on, he was the baddest man in the game. That's what I like. That scene when he knows where Bevilacqua was, and he's like, "Nah, this mother is mine." Like
I know some of the. Well, I was just gonna say, I know some of the people out there are enjoying these long form shows out there, especially the individuals in our chat. One of these days, if it ever comes out, we get large enough, I'd love to do a subathon, but the proceeds go to charity. We should do like Twitch. They do those charity drives on as far as the streamings, whatnot. We should do like a charity stream one of these days.
I'm gonna be honest, Gerald. I started thinking about the show ending here, and I don't want to. I'm dreading. I'm not gonna listen to this. I hear.
You never said you never listen to our shows.
I don't. I very occasionally I do, just because I might say something that I want to go back and see how it sounded.
All proceeds go to Joe's victims. Good one.
The beautiful thing is
for Maui, maybe.
There's very few. There's no victims, because that's the point, guys. Is you avoid
fatality.
Yeah, you avoid problems by cutting it at the womb. See, my wife, as much as she's, the frustration is not the word. It's like kind of like that. She also understands that there's not going to be any riffraff coming here either. And she weighs that out, says, well, I know it's a little difficult. She has said that I'll take the fact that my husband doesn't want to hang out with the friends' husbands because she knows I get bored. People bore me. I'm sorry, they just do, and I don't like couples night garbage. It
Did you meet your wife in college?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yes, and I don't want to be around people that I don't want to hang out with. And it becomes this, okay, well, Joe doesn't really want to go there. We'll just go. Cool. I do my thing. You do your thing. I'm cool with it. Whatever you want. You want to go to Vegas with the girls? Go.
I'm not into the clicky stuff either.
I don't click. I'm the click. I'm the mother effing click. You want to hang? Come to my house. Okay. I got cigars. I got drinks. I got a jacuzzi. I got a pool. I got sports up the yin yang.
I understand this mentality, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't need to go anywhere.
I grew up
around people I don't want to be around. Now, if you're someone I do want to hang out with, hell yeah, let's go. Let's dance. And that's the point with food and drinks. Food has never been about anything emotional other than let's go out and have fun. And there's food and there's drinks and there's things going on. That's the part. However, that needed to take a little bit of a back seat here because I do want, as we ascend in this thing, this face has to start looking like it's disciplined. It's a little easier when you're not in the TV, right? It's easy when you're not talking to people. But the bigger the business gets, the bigger work gets. People are going to identify with a chiseled face and tight look. They'll see the discipline, and that's something that's going to be very important.
All right, to close on out, I met
my drink.
wife.
Sorry, Gerald. My drink recently, because I wanted to stay away from the Coke, even though it tastes good. I'm a honey Jack and Coke guy,
but you just said you're going to stay away from the Coke.
Right. So I switched it to Topo Chico. It's basically like club soda, so that I could still get the carbonation, but I don't have to deal with the sugar, and it tastes good actually. There's enough sweetness in the honey Jack that gives it that sweetness, and then the Topo Chico gives it that carbonation that it's not as good as the Coke, but it's almost as close.
I'll tell you what, and just to answer real quick before we head on out, my wife and I met while we were both working for Dollar Rent-A-Car. I was running outside operations for Dollar Rent-A-Car. She was working inside. She was a nursing student at the time, working part-time at Dollar Rent-A-Car. It took a little while, but we hit it off after a little while. And wow, 19 years of marriage coming up here in a couple of days. Yep.
Wow, Gerald, congratulations.
Yeah, working on trying to get to the number 20 here, but yeah, 19 and a couple of days. So I'm very blessed to have her in my life. But I will say this again, for those who appreciate a long form show from us, truly appreciate it. I think that's just popped an idea in my head again to do maybe one of these days. Once we get fully accredited by YouTube, maybe down the road, I'd like to do a charity stream. If we're getting large enough and we have a large enough audience, I would love to do a charity stream where you do get us for an extended period of time. We're talking about one of those major long streams that you've probably been asking for. We'd have to prep for it and get ready, but that sounds like something we could do. I think. Yeah. Magic is showing his tattoos off today. Yes, there you go. So.
I think it'd be wise to do the show like that if you have 200 to 300.
Yeah, I would not do it now, but I want to do it when we have a large audience, like the ones on Twitch that the large, they do every now and then they do a charity live stream, and they get a substantial amount that does go to charity. I would love to do something like that. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't mind going on for 6-10 hours, whatever needs to be done in order to get the charity that we select.
We can do it. We can do it. We can do it.
Yep. That I did. I found myself a dime. That's true in a way. I did find myself a great woman indeed at Dollar Rent-A-Car. But before we head out, the playback schedule for Magic Man that was upcoming for you, my friend.
Yeah, you know what, Gerald? So the Australia-Germany game tomorrow morning is going to be on at 4:00. So that'll be 1:00 on the West Coast. So anybody's up that time, come around playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. we can chop it up watching Australia, Germany earlier this morning. Yes,
And
that's
then
probably
the Monday morning one, right? On
and the
5:40
morning
Pacific.
5:40. There's gonna be 2:40 on the West Coast. So
No, it's 5:40 on the West Coast.
oh, that's
8:40
right. Yeah, 8:40
on the
my
East.
time. That's right.
Yes.
I correct it. Thank you for
But
correcting
it's the
me, Gerald.
one
Yeah.
after that. That's
Yes,
1:40 West
that's
Coast.
1:40. Yeah, I was thinking of
4:40
that
East
one.
Coast. That's
Yeah,
on Wednesday? Is it on
Wednesday.
Tuesday?
Yeah, against Jordan, right?
Yeah, yes, that's
Yes,
correct.
yeah, that's the one I was thinking
That
of.
one
Yes.
it will let you slide if you want.
All right, sounds good. All right.
All right. But thanks so much again for watching and listening. You heard the playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break. Please join us there. Also, as well, of course, anything that we do here. If you want to go ahead and see us do a charity stream, you've got to go ahead and get us more subscribers. We need more subscribers in order to be large enough. We need to get a large enough audience so that we can really not just send someone $50. We want to send someone 500, 5,000, $50,000 that we generate from a large audience. So if you can, please help us out by getting us to the point where we can go ahead and do that. We could do our own subathon without the arrest. So we'll see what happens there. But once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. We want to thank you so much for watching and listening. Plus, life lessons with Magic Man and Soro. Always great to have you here. Thanks so much again. We'll be back. I know Monday, Sunday, I think we're going to take the day off unless something really happens. Monday, we'll be back. We've already got a guest from the Nets. The Nets outlook, plus also as well Team USA recap. That's coming back at you then. Plus, we also have the Chicago Bulls on tap and more great stuff coming for you. Of course, all week long. A lot of great stuff we're talking about right here at the Life Lessons with Gerald Glassford too. We'll see. We'll see. From the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Happy Lakers weekend, everyone.